In a world where superhero movies are a gigantic enterprise, what causes another comic book movie to rise above the noise? In the case of X-Men Apocalypse, it was the controversy around it. In the opening week, reviewers were pretty divided over whether this movie was good or not. Some praised it, some tore it apart. Now, movies are pretty subjective. One person can love a movie for one thing, and another person can hate the same movie for the same reason. But what's the deal with X-Men Apocalypse? What causes it to be so polarizing among viewers? Today, I'm going to take an in-depth look at X-Men Apocalypse and compare it to my standards for a good comic book movie. After all, you really want to know my opinion on this movie, right? Right? So, when I watch a superhero movie, I have several criteria that I base my judgment off of. First, and most importantly, did I enjoy it? And yes, I did genuinely enjoy this movie. This wasn't anything like Batman vs Superman where I had to essentially force myself to enjoy it. By the end of this film, I genuinely felt better than I did when I started watching it. Next, were the characters any good? This one is more of a mixed bag. Magneto was definitely the standout character. He was great. He was well developed, he was relatable, and he was emotionally engaging. All around, probably the best version of Magneto I've seen on film. Other characters I liked included Professor X and Quicksilver. In this universe, I will always love Quicksilver. As far as badly handled characters go, Apocalypse was a pretty poorly executed villain. He was very one-dimensional and had zero complexity. It was just very generic. And aside from Magneto, his four horsemen were pretty generic too. I also felt like Mystique took a step back as far as character development went in this movie. Her complexity from Days of Future Past really was gone. And everyone else was just kind of meh, no comment. I mean, not bad, not great. Now my third category judges as to whether this movie has any wow moments in it. If there's any parts where you're just like, dang,
that was awesome.
Some examples of this would be the New York fight in Avengers, the Joker interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, and the train fight in Spider-Man 2. All of those scenes stick with you and make you go,
dang, that was cool.
This movie definitely had at least one. The one that I know for sure is the Quicksilver scene. They definitely, I think, one-up themselves from the last movie. And I'm biased, because I just really like Quicksilver in these movies. I'm debating as to whether I should call the final battle a wow scene. It's definitely really cool. I don't know if it's worth a 100% Film Rant certified wow scene achievement. I'd say it's a 90% Film Rant certified wow moment. And my final criteria for a good comic book movie is that the negatives, and there will be negatives, don't take me out of the story. In the beginning, I guess they did slightly, but as it got on, the movie got really good. The first act seemed to be all over the place, very similar to many comic book movies recently. And that was kind of annoying, but by the time the second act kicked into gear, I really liked where things were headed. The CG had some not so great moments, but they were at least excusable. And I didn't think the score was very good, or at least it certainly wasn't memorable. And those weren't deal breakers for me, they were just some minor flaws that I noticed. So what's the deal with X-Men Apocalypse? In my opinion, it's not the franchise's best work so far, but it's definitely not the worst. By far. At the end of the day, it was an entertaining movie. It had its ups and downs, but it wasn't fundamentally flawed in any way. In the end, I can see both sides of the argument as to whether it's good or not. I just tend to lean more on the good side. It's not great, but it's good. Another solid addition to the series, but definitely not a standout. What did you think of X-Men Apocalypse? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, have a great week. Bye.